So, tell us something that's interesting, that is out and that is new.
Yes, so The Black Phone, which is a horror thriller adapted from a short story of the same name by Joe Hill. This is directed by Scott Derrickson, who made Exorcism of Emily Rose, which is an interesting film. Also Sinister, and the first Doctor Strange movie. He'd started work on the second Doctor Strange, on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But he left due to creative differences, and then Sam Raimi took the project over and it became a very different film. So this is a script that Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill had originally written for somebody else to direct, but when the Doctor Strange project fell apart, this kind of became a passion project for him. So this was the thing that is, he didn't want to make creative compromises, but this is what he wanted to do. So set in the late 70s, a number of children in a suburban town go missing, and the local legend is that they've been taken by the Grabber. Character called Finney, played by Mason Thames, has a sister, Gwen, who has psychic dreams, which her father basically tries to beat out of her in a kind of Carrie-like way. Your mother had this same thing and it drove her mad, and your dreams are just dreams. And then Finney is taken by the Grabber, played by Ethan Hawke. Here's a clip.
I know you're scared and you want to go home. I'll take you home soon. It's just I gotta be upstairs for a while. Something's come up.
What?
Never mind. What?
Someone's coming. I'll scream. If someone's upstairs, they'll hear me.
With the door shut, no one can hear anything down here. I soundproofed it myself. So shout if you like, you won't bother anyone.
If you try to touch me, I'll scratch your face. And whoever's coming will see and ask why.
This face?
So he finds himself in a soundproof basement room with a disconnected phone, the black phone of the title, which mysteriously rings sometimes. And on it, he seems to hear the voices of previously taken children giving him instructions on how to escape. One of the things that they say is that they don't immediately know who they are. The first one says, "I don't remember my name." It's the first thing you lose. So we don't know where the voices are coming from or what they represent. And we also know that the phone is meant to be disconnected. There's a touch of Stranger Things in this, in the fact that it's a retro story of a small town, kids being terrorized by an initially unseen force. Although the references here are 70s rather than 80s. There's a long conversation at the beginning about going to the drive-in and whether Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a better film than a Bruce Lee movie, than Enter the Dragon. There's also something of the feeling of Andy Muschietti's It. It gets similarly. It's a 15 certificate movie. There's one sequence in it in which there is a young person in a yellow Mac in the rain on a bike, which seems to have been put there very specifically as a kind of, look, this is the sort of Stephen King territory that we're in. And it's not groundbreaking, but it is very well done. And it reminded me of two things. Firstly, what an inventive director Scott Derrickson can be. There was a very nice touch when they're dramatizing the voices on the phone, in that you see what appear to be apparitions of the sources of the voices in a way that kind of reminded me of The Orphanage and also of Devil's Backbone, and both of which are films that I respect very much. And it felt to me like that had a kind of a similar influence here. I also think the way that the dreams, or are they visions, are done is very effective, in which we see Gwen actually walking into her dreams and walking through them in a very kind of physical way. That kind of, it's a dream sequence, but it has a really down-to-earth physicality. Also, very smart use of needle drops, which range from Pink Floyd's On the Run from Dark Side of the Moon to Sweet's Fox on the Run, which I haven't heard in a movie for a very, very long time. And it was very impressive that turned up. So I thought it was a pretty solidly done, horror thriller. It wears some of its references on its sleeves, but it also has its own originality. And it was just interesting to discover the backstory of that this happened because Scott Derrickson was working on something else. He didn't want to change his vision of it. He walked away and he did this instead. And this does feel like it's made with passion and with a great deal of creativity. As I said, it's not groundbreaking. It's not going to change the world, but it is very solidly done, and it has a good creepy atmosphere. And Ethan Hawke is creepy, and the young players are all very, very good. So it's well done horror chiller.